Hi, this is Damon Pistolka, host of the Faces of Business podcast, where we talk to interesting people about life and business. We cover their backgrounds, obstacles they've encountered, and find out what drives them. Along the way, our guests share nuggets you can use to drive your success. Reach me directly, DAMON at exityourway.us, or check out our website, exityourway.us, for more information. I hope you enjoy our show. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us once again on the Faces of Business. I'm your host, Damon Pistolka, and I am pleased to have Andrew Deutsch with me here today of Fangled Tech.
Hello, hello.
Welcome, Andrew.
Thanks for having me back on.
Yes. Well, I'm excited, man. I'm excited, first of all, just because I know you pretty well and you're funny as heck. And that's good, because I wouldn't think that there would ever be a joke when we would talk, but there may be. I'm just saying.
Never. How dare you? Am I your clown? Is that what it is?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. But so anyone listening here on, so I can remember this, because usually I forget. If you're listening to us here on LinkedIn Live, go ahead, or in Facebook, go ahead and drop where you're listening from. If you have any questions for the guests throughout the show, just go ahead and throw them down and we'll get them answered. So we're going to start off, Andrew. Tell us a little bit about Fangled Tech and how you're helping people.
Fangled Tech is a full strategy-first marketing and sales consultancy. And what that means is that we help customers before they get to all those shiny objects, the tactical tools, the websites, all that stuff. We help them really dig in to understand who their customer or customers are and those personas, so that they can build a strategy and how they differentiate to truly speak to those people at their model of the world in a way that none of the alternative solutions for those problems could possibly compete. And we convert and teach how to convert every touch into a voracious advocate for that brand. That's a mouthful, isn't it?
It is. And I was writing notes because I remembered, I want to remember a couple of things that you said, because it's very important. I think a couple of things that I've heard you say this before, that when you position yourself because of your unique, I'm not saying your uniqueness, and that's not the right word, but your unique abilities or your unique offerings, that you are the only one that can provide the right solution. That's the goal.
Well, it goes back to taking the old concept of the blue ocean strategy to the next level, which is, I don't know if you're familiar with blue ocean, red ocean strategy, but the idea that it's clear sailing because you've eliminated the battle. Instead of going to battle for that price market, you've created that unique micro niche where you can work. Well, it's also the other part of it that we explain as very clearly. We don't say convert your customers into voracious advocates. We say convert every touch, because if you run your business properly, even the people who don't do business with you can become advocates for your brand. So you've got this old-fashioned model of that sales funnel, and it's changed over the years. You'll see it where, well, the first two steps are marketing, and then the rest is sales. Yeah. And then, oh no, now with modern marketing, marketing goes all the way through to the point where the funnel becomes an hourglass. So as the funnel goes down, people forget what happens to the people who fall out of the funnel. Yeah. Well, what would happen if early in the funnel you discovered that you really aren't the solution for that customer, but you guided them to the right solution? They're going to be telling the world how brilliant your company is and how much they love you. This guy could have taken my money. He didn't. Instead, he sent me somewhere else, and I got great service. That's a voracious advocate for your brand. At the next level, well, he might have had to, because of some internal business solution that the customer, your company has a relationship, the other buyer's brother is your competitor, that kind of stuff. But if you helped educate him during that process, the moment that conflict doesn't exist, he's going to buy from you, and he'll be telling his buddies, we're not allowed to buy from those guys, but you should. So it's every touch along the way. The fellow who pulled in the parking lot and couldn't figure out where he was going in the industrial park, and asked the fellow who cuts the grass, who's part of your customer service team, whether you like it or not, and he gets those directions. Boy, those people at that company are nice. Another voracious advocate for your brand. Everyone your company touches can be, if marketing properly treats them. And then the moment of purchase, when people tend to forget about that customer, you don't let them go away. You've got the hourglass at the bottom where you collect and continue to nurture those people as their advocates now, because they've been treated so well. They can go back up to the top and buy again. They also can brag, show off what they benefited from you, tell the world, shout it from the hilltops. And,
Yes.
and those voracious advocates that you collect in that hourglass are so powerful for the growth of your company. Millions of voices speaking to your praises and growing your business.
Yes. And like you said, it's not just your customers, it's everybody that you help along the way, and show that you care about their problem and solving their unique problem at that point.
Every touch.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you say that, because I see and I try to recognize things like that. And there are a couple, there's an electrician up here that does a big one, and a plumbing company, roofing company. There's few that just rise above the others. And like, for example, the plumbing company, I just love their example, and they're even in their television commercials, they go to the point that, everybody's in a uniform, dressed good. And of course they do on television, but I've asked too, and they said it's that way in the field. They come to the door. They're very respectful. They put booties on, even if it's nice out. Doesn't matter if it's wet. Booties on. When they go to work, they lay down a nice mat that covers the floor, even if it's a granite floor. They don't care what they're on, and they do that. And then, speaking to the people and how they talk to them all the way in and out makes such a huge difference. And like you said, it's throughout the entire organization. You had the example of the person mowing the lawn giving directions. That can be the person that converts a customer or potential customer into a buyer or that voracious advocate.
Absolutely. Using your model, if we were going to take a step back on that, and we're going to do research, talking to potential customers of plumbing companies, and you want to know what is it about a plumbing company that would make you want to hire them. And of course, they're available in emergency might be one. The plumbing companies are talking about, my guys have this much training, they do this and that. If you dug in and really understood the motivation structure strategies of the personas of people who hire plumbers, one of the things that you'll find out is they want people that will come in their home and treat it with respect. They want somebody that they can feel comfortable that when they're in the house, they're safe, they're secure, they're clean. There's a lot of things that you would find out. And as you test those against the market, you can figure out which 2 or 3 of those matter the most. Mm-hmm. I would propose that you could promote a plumbing company without ever discussing the equipment on their truck, the training, based on the level of service. There's plumbing companies who did research and turned out that people wanted to know that they could have them. There's a company, I think it's called 8 Hour Plumbing. They guarantee they'll have someone at your house within 8 hours. Yeah. That was a benefit that people, gosh, if my house is flooded, if I can't use my toilet, if I can't take a shower, I'll pay anything to get someone here within 8 hours. Yeah. So that was a value prop that helped them create the advocates for their brand. So all of those things have to do with truly understanding the personas of the people, what they value, and then you as a company, what are the things that you can do that actually differentiate you from all of the alternatives. I don't talk about competitors, I talk about alternatives, which I'll define in a second. But the idea is, how can I solve their problem in a way that matters to them, that's different than what any alternative to that solution could be? Because you know what an alternative to the plumber is? Home Depot. Yeah. Billy's uncle who used to fix stuff is an alternative.
The handyman down the street.
Yeah. Selling the darn house is an alternative. Yeah. There's millions of things besides plumbers that people could call when they get a bad pipe. So if you understand what those people are looking for, what are the values, what are the pains, what are the challenges, the desires they have to be solved, how you can solve them in a way that separates you from all the alternatives out there and speak to it that way, it matters. Mm-hmm. So if you're a typical non-technical, someone who doesn't know how to fix stuff, man, woman, otherwise in a home, and you go on and you look and they say, we have state-of-the-art equipment, we carry rigid pipe cleaners, this pipe cutters and this kind of stuff. All of those things are great if you know anything about plumbing. Consumer doesn't give a. They want to know that a guy's going to come in their house, he's going to be clean, He's going to make sure that he doesn't do any damage. He's going to make sure you feel secure, and he's going to fix your problem on a timely manner and not try to rob you with a high invoice. That's what the consumer wants.
Yeah.
So we've got more stuff on our truck than anybody else. Who cares? Home Depot's up the street, Lowe's is up the street. Menards,
yeah, you can get stuff where you need to get that.
Yeah.
So, this is interesting. We were kind of people may have thought we got off topic a little bit, but now that I'm thinking about what we're talking about, we came to talk about the future of sales powered by AI. And
absolutely.
This is something that was very interesting. You and I started talking about this a long time ago, and you had mentioned some things that are going on, but I think this is a really interesting thing because as we know, sales is difficult, and it's really, really, really getting more and more and more tailored to the individual, and really being able to show someone, hey, Damon, I know this is what you want based on these things. And, Google does a really good job of it. There's others obviously that do, but based on your likes, your interests, whatever. And AI, from what you and I had talked, is something that you think and have seen could really change the way that this works.
Yep. And it fits. I mean, the reason that I went into the details I just did is because it really does relate to discussions of AI. So let's start with the problem, and we'll use industrial distributors as an example, because there's companies like Grainger, like MasterCard, the big guys, million SKUs in the catalog. That's so they sell through. They've got internal order entry. People call, place orders. They've got the web, and they also have salespeople out on the road. Most of those companies have real problems that sound like this. New recruits, we got to hire 100 of them to keep 10 because the churn is awful.
Yeah.
Experienced guys that are really making a great commission, they don't do too much. They're already making their money, so they got a 4-hour, 5-hour day. They don't leave the home. There's great leads in the territory, but we call those the fat and sassy. We've got internal salespeople that don't know what's in the catalog, and they don't care because people call, so they never have the ability to suggest products. And there's other people, but for our purpose, let's talk about those three. So what's out there that can help all of them? Why do the new sales guys churn? Well, it takes so long to learn what's up that they cop out and disappear before they ever get up to speed.
Yeah.
So we have to find a way to help them on day one be able to sell product. Then the fat and sassy guy doesn't have any accountability to go out and find those new leads and because he's comfortable with what he's making. He's well above his salary. And the inside people, those are phone people who they don't have technical backgrounds.
Yeah.
So now we start talking about what AI does. So AI being artificial intelligence, if we can go back and say, we have data for 20-something years on the purchasing patterns of customers. We can look at those invoices and see what they've purchased. We also know the different categories or silos that we sell into. So say, for example, let's break out the catalog to cleaning chemicals. I always use this as an example. So imagine we're an industrial distributor who sells 1,000 SKUs of cleaning products into the janitorial space. And we're going to break it down to one more silo. We're going to sell to nursing homes. Okay. Yep. Well, there's different personas within the nursing home world. We've got the highly ethical. We love the elderly. We want them to have their final days be dignified and comfortable and wonderful. And at the other end of that spectrum, we've got that jerk who recognizes that housing old people can make money. And it doesn't matter if they die because, somebody else will take the bet. I'm being a little cynical. Okay. Yeah. So if we've identified those and now we look at the product offering, we recognize they're going to have very different purchasing patterns. So we can take the data from, say, the last 5 years after we've classified every existing customer. Are they this end of the spectrum or that end? What customer type are they? And then through an algorithm that we create, we then can understand the exact purchasing pattern. What were the first 3 items most likely to be purchased by people within that persona? What would be the next item? What items won't they buy? So we now have that data set. Now I don't have to train the salespeople to know how to go through the catalog to deal with those folks. They'll have basic understanding of the product and the functioning of the company, but we can actually give them a 2 or 3 question besides, hey, how you doing today? To understand, are you a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 persona? And in asking those questions, the AI is giving them the suggestion, where should I begin? What's the highest probability of product? Now, the reason AI is that it's not some sales analyst who figured this out a month ago and you're using that data. Sales guy talks to the customer, offers those 3. He says, you know what, only 2 of those matter. And the next customer, the same 2. The AI is constantly thinking, adjusting, and changing those parameters based on the yeses and the nos.
Okay.
Same sales guy just took over a territory from a fellow who retired. He's going to be horrible at his first stop because they're so used to the previous sales guy. He was a champ.
Yeah.
Well, the AI is saying to him, this is what the customer's been buying all along. These are items they haven't bought for a while. So you certainly want to bring those up. But also, based on the probability, they've only been buying these 5 items for the last 3 years. Every other company within that persona that bought those 5 items also bought this and also bought that.
Yeah.
And on their first visit, they can start suggesting and broadening the purchasing pattern of that customer. So that's just the beginning of it.
Yeah, and that's really something. And I'm going to stop just for a second because we've got Chris Webb's been weighing in on here. I think he did actually when we were talking about the plumbers. Is the big difference is us. People forget value comes from the person and their way of execution is what he meant. He had a subsequent message, but he's right. Absolutely. It's right, and you know, in terms of that plumbing example, it's taking the time to make sure that plumber, that person mowing the lawn, the people that are sweeping the floor in a place, as well as the people that are in accounting or engineering, understand that they're all part and they're all sales in the business. And you say that a lot, that everyone's a salesperson, whether they like it or not, and they're going to be good or bad depending on what you do.
Yeah, we're all part of customer service. We're all part of the marketing team.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think that really is lost or understood by the better run companies. I mean, you look at some of them, and I look at this, and I was past it again this weekend. Chick-fil-A, right? Mm-hmm. Chick-fil-A has good sandwiches, right? But are they enough for me to wait in line for an hour for one? No. But that thing's got a line out the door every week. I go by it every weekend. And I think it's because they really work on their customer service and the way people talk to them. Yes, they have good food. And yes, they serve it at a reasonable price and all the other things. But when you're looking at some things, that little bit of differentiator in how you treat that customer is why people come back.
Yeah. And they are a perfect example of a company that knows how to create voracious advocates. When they open a store, people wait around the block for to be the first. It's the same thing. Think about electronic companies like when a new Apple phone comes out. People are waiting around the block for something that they've never even held or know if it works. Yeah. They don't know if there's bugs in it. They're advocates. Yeah. Kids that are into brands like those off Nikes that they only make a certain number. Yeah. They've created that value that they have to have it. They have to have it.
Yeah. Well, and you make a good point. I mean, my son's going to be 22 now, and he is a Marvel fan beyond Marvel fans. And, anything comes out on Disney with a different Marvel-based series, any of the new movies, he's watching the trailers, and he's watching all the different trailers to see if there's little nuances that he can tell about the movie in there. And these voracious advocates are all out there.
Yeah, part of the spark that led me to the model was when I was a kid, just really into music. And there were certain artists that I was absolutely certain, no matter what they put out, I wanted it on the first day. I've never, there was no place to pre-hear anything.
Yeah.
I would go, and the joy of going home with that jacketed record and opening it up and reading it and putting it on the turntable for the first time, having no idea what the heck I was going to hear.
Oh, wow.
That level of fandom works in the B2B space too.
Yes, it does.
I'll tell you a funny about years ago when I was in the industry. Many times I've had product lines that competed directly with the folks at 3M. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that buyers in 7, 8 different languages have said the same thing to me over the years, is we're currently a 3M customer. Nobody ever lost their job by buying from 3M. And,
Yes.
and you wonder if that's something that 3M teaches their salespeople. I don't know. But I've got an alternative. We've tested it. It performs better, has a better price structure, better delivery. I'm not going to lose my job if I keep buying from 3M. Should I take the risk? And
Yes.
and that fits that model.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a hard thing to overcome, you know, and when you look at it though, and back to the AI part of it,
Sure.
I really think that the AI and the understanding that it gives that new salesperson really does, in your example there, where they're going out, they're taking over in a territory, you know, if that AI is not there to help them, they have to go research that client. They have to pull that data together. They have to try to put that, and even just, let's just be honest, 90% of the people are not going to do that.
They don't.
They're going to go out there. They're going to go out there and say hi. They're going to want to take them to lunch. They're going to want, or whatever. They're not going to do that research. They're not going to do that. So the AI is really giving that large portion of those salespeople a better first impression, therefore giving the company a better first impression.
Well, let me give you the other 2 examples quickly. So the next guy is that fat and sassy, hasn't been out on the street. Now the AI is tied into a CRM. When he gets up in the morning, he's going to be getting his customer lists and what he should be suggesting next. And he's going to be accountable for doing that. So that one customer he never bothered with, he's got to offer product X. And it gets him re-engaged in what's going on. The marketing team just recognized that there's 20 new nursing homes in the neighborhood. It will automatically be on his prospect list. There's going to be the initial offering and his accountability to do it. So now he's got to get back to work. And then the last one, you've got those people who are hired to answer the phone and take orders. Well, the AI is going to say to them, hey, they should be buying this product. Make sure when they place the order, let's suggest this. And same with the web analysis. On the web, they're placing their cart. When they do their search, the search can be designed to show them products that would be in their preference and not show them things at the top of the search that would not be of interest. Lastly, go back to the person now in the office. I answered the phone. You need these 4 items. You know, you should be trying this product. Can I throw a free sample in there for you? To whose name should I put on it so they can test it? And all of that happens. So the AI is this sales analyst who's changing their mind based on true data every second of every day, thinking through and performing. Then you take all of that data. Now the marketing team is going to send out the sales flyer. Okay. And I'm sending it to nursing homes. I can customize the order of the items and even exclude items. Like imagine, you know, in the AI, you knew that you had a place that was Islamic or Jewish nursing home. It could reduce everything that's not halal or kosher off of that list. Yeah. But nonetheless, you're meeting people at their exact model of the world every time you're communicating with them. And the customer goes, I love this company. They know me. Yeah. The AI does all of that in a way that now your salespeople are up to speed faster. The fat and sassy guys are actually growing their territory, even though they haven't for a long time, because they don't have a choice. And they're making more money, so they're not going to complain about it. And your internal people are getting excited because they're actually making sales too, and they're more of a part of the profitability of the company. And we've seen where this AI has gone out, and we've watched horizontal growth with existing customers in the first months, 20 to 30%. Wow! Because that's what AI does. And by the way, it won't take over the world because we don't let it have guns. Yeah, it's never give grenades to the AI. Well, I don't think that would be a good choice. I just think that it's interesting though, because it does things that we naturally are just not going to do. Well, we're just naturally going to do. Great salespeople have been doing it for years. Yeah. Intuitive guys who know their product line front to back, who know their customers, have all that experience. The problem is, by the time you're that good, you've only got a few left in your career. And the new guys, you know, are you going to take that guy off the street to try to train the young guys? And does a guy who knows that have the skill set to train? Because the skill set that makes you a brilliant hunter salesman probably doesn't make you a very good sales trainer.
Yes.
So the AI gets people up to speed so much faster, and your churn is going to drop.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It's got to make the sales job, I don't want to say easier because you're still selling, but it makes you be a better salesperson, allows you to be a better salesperson, not makes you, but allows you to be a better salesperson because you're more knowledgeable about the things that will truly help them with their challenges today.
It adds your predictability. It makes you appear to be much more in tune with your product line than you would have been at that quickly to your customer. It helps you to show the customer that not only do you know them, but you know their business, so you can start to predict what's next and what works and what doesn't. But it also gives great feedback to the marketing team, the product development team, because those knows what doesn't work becomes far more obvious quicker to maybe we need to hone this product line. Maybe we need to release it. Maybe we need to grow it because it's being this successful. If you knew in real time, for example, imagine you were in the fragrance, you got 20 different fragrances for air fresheners. And in real time, you're seeing what's bought, what's not bought. You then could plan your production that, when we run that one, it sells, but not as much. Let's not make as many.
Yeah.
So and the data comes without turning your salespeople into darn clerks, where they're constantly doing paperwork and filling out forms rather than being in front of customers doing what which is to sell.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a whole nother subject.
It is.
That is. So what are some of the exciting things you see? We've talked about, you're going to help the new person, you're going to help the fat and sassy experienced salesperson got their territory nailed down. You're helping the inside people. So what do you really think is the next thing on horizon past that for what artificial intelligence is going to be able to help us with in sales?
Well, the next step is through that learning process, it's really going to help with the future product development category. Because you'll notice that certain tendencies, but you'll notice them in real time. So for example, in that chemical industry, you've got really strong, nasty acrylic, what am I saying? Acidic and alkaline products for cleaning. And then you've got these new biosafe pH neutral products. So if you're noticing through the AI that as people are learning to educate folks and there's a trend towards them, you may want to eliminate certain products that are in the line and understand the trends based on that real-time purchasing. When you've got guys that are just selling what they're comfortable with, they never, if I've got a customer who's been buying bleach for 20 years to do cleaning, do I want to take the risk? Well, no, but the AI is telling me that I should. It's an incentive to try to bring them towards these other products. So there's a lot of things that sort of change who we are as those products develop and grow, that the AI helps us to lean towards. It also there's so many different aspects of how it benefits. I mean, just from the ability to forecast, the ability to recognize market trends in regions. You can look at it. It can be set so that for example, that customers use this particular product. They have a 90-day supply. They only have a 30-day supply of the other. You should get in touch before a competitor can get in the door. There's just so much that it can do to make you smarter as a salesperson. It's basically like your own personal assistant.
Yeah, you're right, because
more predictive model than you do.
Yeah, and they're working 24/7 to help you be better.
Yep.
And it's, you just think of the things that you talked about, helping you get more relevant products and help them switch to more relevant products. You're talking about making sure you don't run out of products without, having to go in and do inventory just based on past usage.
Yep.
And
now let me there's one more piece of that. So let's take it out of the nursing home scenario. We're now a company like, say, a Fastenal that has nails, they have fasteners, they have ladders, they have rags.
Yeah.
So
tons of stuff.
They have everything.
Yeah.
This AI is so intelligent that if you're dealing, let's say, with a roofing company who's been buying all their fasteners from you and certain tools, it can compare that to pages of the catalog you've never even looked at. 80% probability that these guys are going to buy rags. And there's a 90% probability that at some point in time, they're going to need a ladder. And it can look into areas within the catalog, because that's another issue. In these massive catalog companies, nobody knows all the pages, and most salespeople make their money selling a small percentage of the catalog, and they don't care about the rest of it. This forces the sales team to sell every page in the catalog because the AI is telling them to. So, you know, who would have thought that if you told them, by the way, we have truck boxes, Mr. Roofer. Oh, mine's damaged. I need a new one.
Yeah.
How did you know? Well, I've got a 90 percentile chance that at some point you're going to need one because my data shows me that. Of course, you're not going to say the roofer because he's going to go, I don't have time for that. I got roofs to do.
Yeah.
But it expands into the entire product line. I remember when I was in the strapping industry, there were 2 pages that I made my money with, and all the rest of it was if it came up.
Yeah.
You know.
So you're finding that AI would have helped you be a better salesperson if you were still selling today. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's and in the same way that I talk about CRM. The day that the CRM reminded me that I hadn't followed up on a $1.2 million proposal for equipment in Venezuela, and the CRM went, you haven't followed up. And I picked up the phone and called, and the guy said, I'm so glad you called. I've been thinking to reach out to you. We got to make a decision today, and we have one doubt. and I need the answer. And I gave him the answer and closed the deal. And if it had to been for the ding that came from the CRM, I'd have been well, nobody would have known I didn't get the deal because of that, except for me.
Yeah.
But I got the deal.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Dan Bigger's got a funny comment here. Says, when are you two not on a podcast or live? Don't you know, Dan, this is what we do all day. We just do this. No, that's
well, we'll tell Dan that if he, Venmos me $20, I'll shut up.
Yeah, we'll get off. You Venmo us, buddy. That's the deal. We're trying to get people to pay us not to be on.
Yeah.
But no, it's I'm really just awed by the thought of what this could do in so many different areas. And this is sales being just one. And I look at there's so many others where I've talked to people about using AI and in maintenance and AI. And, when you look at a complex piece of equipment and there are so many different possibilities of what's wrong, but it doesn't matter. Even like in Dan's case, in an injection molding machine, right? There's a lot of different things that go wrong in one of those things. But if you could pull up an AI application that knew that machine and you said, this is what it's doing, and it just ran you right through the things, it's so incredible what these things can do now.
Well, where the software becomes AI is when it's in real time thinking and making adaptations to benefit the outcome that you desire. That's when it's an intelligence. When it's just a database of troubleshooting, if it does this, it'll do this. When it's an if-then, it's not really.
Oh, good point. Good point.
So one of the things in the manufacturing process, there are complex AIs even in the retail world that are every moment of every day evaluating whether it's a supermarket, a clothing store, or otherwise, what's going on and off the shelf. That's constantly creating what that purchasing pattern is going to be for replacement going forward, because it's constantly looking at what's happening regionally. And in that same AI could say, based on what we're seeing, we've been keeping inventory in Seattle and certain inventory in Los Angeles, and we're already seeing this trend, and we start to shift that inventory because we need more here and less there. So there's lots of ways that it can work. And what it does is it replaces that sales analyst who's brilliant, but gives you a moment in time to work from that's already out of date by the time you take it to the field in highly volatile markets.
That's true, because it can change it in real time. Like you said, as soon as it says do this, then it's moving product or doing whatever it needs to do. Yeah, that's something. And that's a good distinction with AI, is it's making the decisions in real time based on your data.
Yep. The no's are just as important as the yeses.
That is for sure.
Yep.
That is for sure.
Yeah.
So it's been awesome having you talk. Andrew, this is an enthralling topic for me. It's just, I'm so excited about to see what this kind of stuff does, because in sales and especially in B2B sales, there's, and these large SKU type sales where this could really be applicable. It's really something.
Yeah. Anybody out there who has a distribution company that has over 200 into the thousands and millions of SKUs, that has at least 15, 20 people involved in the sales process, whether it's customer service, sales, inside sales, otherwise, this AI solution that we're working with, we have yet to see a solution where we don't see significant growth out of the box.
Wow.
And you know, we would love to sit down with some of these bigger players like the you know, Fastenal, Zorro, Grainger, and that, because we know that this solution would completely turn their business upside down in a positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got one question, because I work in this space a lot. Do you think that this would work with large SKU e-commerce sales?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, that you don't have the traditional salesperson, people are helping themselves, but you could still do the same sort of recommendations based on the customer.
Well, let's talk about big box stores like a Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards.
Yeah.
So it used to be you went in and you bought a gas grill, and then you go back on the website and they knew you bought a gas grill. They're suggesting gas grills.
Yeah.
I kind of have one.
Yes.
And then they got to thinking with their solution. Well, we know they have one. What do people who buy gas grills buy? They'll buy spatulas, they'll buy covers, maybe deck furniture, things like that. Well, if they were to incorporate what we do with AI within the Home Depot website, they would compare by who you are, all of the other items. And it may be that people who buy gas grills also have an 80% chance that they're going to remodel their bathroom. I'm pulling that out of the air.
Yeah.
And the sales flyers would show that. Also, the AI would keep understanding what you've purchased and what the life cycle of those items are. So if the typical life cycle of a refrigerator is 12 years, about 11 years in, they're going to start with their AI knowing that you're probably up for replacement. But there's so many correlations that you and I can't see that AI can see, because it's looking at all of the data all of the time and adjusting based on what's happening.
Yeah.
So and
that's amazing. It's just amazing. It's amazing when you think.
And it'll influence your search too, so that the stuff that meets. If you're a guy who always buys the premium brands, when you do your search, it's not going to show you the generics. If you're a guy who's always a price shopper, they're going to show you what you like first, and then the step up based on how the AI structures, based on who you are, what you bought in the past, and how you compare to other people who've had similar purchasing patterns.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something.
Yep.
That's something. That's something. Well, Andrew, what have I not asked you that I should ask you about this AI solution? I know it is. I'm using it on you, man, because you use it and it's a great question.
That's my question, you
question stealer,
IP thief.
I heard it from the one I listened to yesterday of yours. So
from the Fangled Cat,
yeah.
It, you know, the question that you didn't ask me is, how do people reach out and find me to set up AI or to look at their brand and really how to grow their business? Fangled Tech. You can check me out on LinkedIn. I link with anybody who's not trying to scam me with MLM marketing and Bitcoins.
Yeah.
And in all seriousness, people who have a need of benefit or that can benefit what I do mutually.
Yeah.
And also we have, if you go on YouTube, and I guess we can put the links in later when this goes back out.
We will.
Our podcast is called the Fangled Cast. And what we do is we pick a topic and find experts to have a conversation in depth about it, and all sorts of business related topics.
Yeah.
I take great pride in it. It's a lot of fun, and we've got some really interesting stuff that folks can dig into.
Yes, it's great. It's great and interesting, and you find some really interesting speakers as well. So awesome. Well, I had to steal your question at the end.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah, you knew I couldn't do that. Couldn't stop without that. So
yeah, I was going to blow it up anyhow. So
yeah. Yes, the other thing that people should understand is you have developed a program to help people, and explain this a little bit, because I think this is helpful to people too. A program to be more visually impactful when they're on live.
Yeah, you know, I go back more than 20 years of video conferencing because most of my career was overseas. So if I wanted to see what was going on at home, I wanted to talk to my wife, whatever. I wanted to be in the boardroom during meetings when I was, overseas. I was video conferencing. Well, when the whole COVID thing hit and everybody started video conferencing and thought it was new, I was very funny. I was laughing about it because it was just so natural to me. And then as more and more Zoom went on, people were falling asleep, turning into zombies.
Yeah, yeah.
Could I share my screen? So we started to look at other tech and tried to figure out. So now when you're going to do a like a PowerPoint presentation with what we teach people to do, you can jump into your PowerPoint and shrink down. And there's a long lag on this, so it's not showing. There we go. There's my PowerPoint. And you shrink down and you can actually present and work from this position. And if somebody asks a question, although there's a lag, so it's going to take a second, I'm not sure what's going on, you can grow back up and actually address and talk to people in the forum. And really, so what we did is we built a training program to use this open source software so that you can train. There we go. So you can train folks to learn how to use this software in the best way to be present, be impactful, and do more interesting things in your meetings and keep the audience awake.
Yes. I think it's so powerful.
Yeah. Look at that. I'm talking to myself. I don't know what happened with the lag.
Yeah.
I'll be back soon.
Sometimes, I'll be back soon. Sometimes that just happens. That's a good thing about live, is you never know what's going to happen in there.
Yep. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I hear you just fine.
Everything's frozen for me. I can hear, but I can't see. So it's a good thing we're wrapping up.
Yeah, we are wrapping up. Well, thanks a lot, Andrew, for being here. And now I think it's catching up with you.
Yep.
It's catching up with you. So it's great. It's great having you here today, and such an interesting topic about AI helping sales, and just the examples you gave are awesome. And I think that people, if they are interested in this, they should talk to you about it and really begin to think in different ways of how AI can help us be better in our business.
It's nothing to be scared of, because it really is like having, as our friend Greg says, a digital twin, an extra set of hands, your own personal assistant, without having to hire one. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks again for everyone watching the Faces of Business today. Thanks if you are listening live on LinkedIn or Facebook or Periscope or wherever the heck you are, or anywhere else for that matter. Thanks a lot, Andrew, for being here today. Reach out to Andrew Deutsch at Fangled Tech if you've got more questions about this. Again, I'm Damon Pistolka with Exit Your Way, and we're signing out for today. Thank you. Thanks so much.